Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, wait. Come here, video. There we go. Going well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm gonna apologize now if my video or like reception is bad. I'm in a cabin in West Virginia, so
Ooh.
yeah,
No
little
apologies
getaway.
necessary, but heard.
Okay, cool. Awesome. You ready to just go ahead and get started?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So, I was reading just like some interviews that you've done before, and you talked about how you've kind of always loved acting and filmmaking. So I kind of want to know, was there like a specific movie or was there something that happened in your childhood where you were like, oh, this is something that I really want to pursue in the future?
Well, my first of all, thank you for reading those interviews. That's very cool. But my very first, my favorite actor, well, I guess if you're gonna go way, way back, it's Lucille Ball.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I used to watch it with my mom all the time, and so eventually that it went from Lucille Ball to Whoopi Goldberg
Mm.
was, and then Jim Carrey there in the '90s, and that's kind of like how I started my little path, just being a goofball mostly,
Okay.
making people laugh, and like my mom is also very very goofy, so a lot of it has to do with her, so it's her fault. um, but I don't know. I've always been a little fearless in a certain regard.
Hmm.
Not like acting, yeah. Other parts of my life, I don't know. I think some people would probably challenge me on that, but so my family gave me a lot of confidence innately as a child, which was interesting, kind of like dealing with being queer and understanding that in a very conservative state,
Hmm.
Texas. Um, but I'm trying to remember if there was a moment or if it just like slowly kind of became my passion. Because well, I mean, like my family reunions are very very large, or at least they
Hmm.
were when I was a kid, and there was always karaoke night.
Oh, that's so fun.
So I mean, my grandfather is one of 19,
Oh, wow.
so that's how big it was. So I mean, with that many people and everybody just really like caring for each other, I think that performing just came to a lot of us. Um, and I got it in my brain that that is what I was going to do.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe it had to do with I was like pretty isolated as a kid if I wasn't with my family, because I grew up very rurally,
Yeah.
um, and so it was my escape a lot. Uh, I would make collages in my closet, of like just Vogue stuff. I look back now and I realize that has two meanings. Um,
Isn't that so fun? You always look back and you're
I
like, oh, that's
oh
what you were doing.
yeah, exactly. Um, and so I was very much into high fashion, and I was very much into art, and I loved film. I always have. I think because I'm also a storyteller and I come from a family of storytellers. Um, and I think, my grandmother loves to tell this story. It's a Christmas play when I was in kindergarten, and it
Oh.
was Kittens Have Mittens or something.
Oh, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, yeah. And my whole class was, in a line on the stage. My grandparents drove in from, wherever. And apparently, I was the only kid that took a bow at the end. Two, apparently. I took
I
two.
mean,
One
if
to this
they're
side.
applauding.
So that was somewhere around there, is probably when I was like, oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And then just continuing to, as I got older and started to become more curious with different types of film, um, there was just something that like I just knew that that was going to be my obsession. I mean,
Hmm.
basically, it's my first love.
Yeah.
It's the best relationship that I have.
So you said that like first and foremost you're a storyteller. So what drew you to the Mary and Gay script that like made you really interested in being a part of the project?
First of all, it just sounded like so much fun. Um, and obviously, like um, being a lead in a feature is just such a challenge and like a real exercise for an actor. And I hadn't taken on that much um, responsibility. Essentially, that's how I
Mhm.
see it in a project before. I've always been co-stars or supporting, so that was a big draw. And then once I, confirmed that the majority of the filmmakers were members of the community as well, that was big. And I looked up Dia as well and saw, her credits and where she comes from and what she's experienced and or been a part of. And so once I, vetted all that out, I was like, okay, all right, this could be a lot of fun. I'm gonna go spend 2 weeks in Tennessee, like being all giggly and pretending it's Christmas, my favorite holiday. Yeah, sure, why not? Also, it's a lead, non-binary lead in a rom-com, and the story isn't about that. It's just about good old little holiday love.
Yeah.
So.
Did you feel any because you are the first non-binary lead in a holiday rom-com, which is a massive, massive leap forward. Was there, you talked a little bit about being just a lead character and having some kind of, I don't want to say a burden, it's a bad thing, but some, just something that you're aware of and expectations. Did you have that tenfold as this role of also non-binary lead?
Um, I didn't feel any additional pressure. The only thing that I wanted to do was make Sam real. And almost because their gender isn't necessarily part of the story, it didn't feel like some big hurdle or additional weight to carry. It was just a side note, maybe. And it's because it's also who I am. I'm non-binary, and to a degree, yeah, that absolutely, there is a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that, with any public facing, anything. But because it's just innately part of who I am, and it was innately part of who Sam was, it never, in the moment, it was never a thing. Now, as the movie's about to come out, and that's, what people are really keying into, among obviously just the sweet little love story that is Becca and Sam. It's even more, apparent how much this could mean to a lot of people. It would have meant, a ton to me as as a youth, especially isolated in the middle of the boonies of Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it I play a non-binary character in Bel Air on Peacock. And so that gets a lot of viewership as well. So I feel a lot of responsibility in that regard also. Because that's the only non-binary or queer character in there at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah. Unless there are storylines I don't know about yet, because it is season 2. But it wasn't particularly difficult. And I think that also is a testament to the rest of the cast and crew of Mary and Gay. The fact that my pronouns are they, them wasn't a thing. And it was incredibly validating to be in a place where that's who I was from the very beginning. It's not oh, Andi's pronouns are now they, them. It's no, that's all they've ever known. And that was really cool.